Welcome to a podcast unlike any other. Presented by the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame. In support of our local music scene. It's the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast. Tonight's guests, Chris Ryder, and Lyndhurst. This episode is sponsored by Dauphin County Parks and Recreation. And now, your hosts, Daniel Keim and Alan McCutcheon.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel.
I'm Alan.
And this week's guest, we have Chris Ryder.
Chris Ryder Photography.
Chris Ryder Photography.
What's up, guys?
Hey,
What's going on, man?
Not much.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Appreciate the offer.
Of course. So you are the 2021 and 2020, so going backwards, 2020 and 2021 award winner of the CPMAs for the best music photographer, correct?
Correct. Yep.
That's awesome. How does that make you feel?
I mean, it's cool. It's cool. It's just acknowledging doing something that I love. You
haven't been doing this for like ever either.
I've been with Pennsylvania Musician Magazine for about 4.5 years now.
Okay.
Been shooting live music for 7 or 8 years, something like that. I started a little longer ago than that, but really started diving into it probably 5 or 6 years ago.
And that's actually when I met you.
Yes.
Right? Because like
Yes.
So for the people, I'm going to make everyone that's watching jealous. If you have contacted Chris Ryder for his fantastic photography for any of your events, and you see the price tag that he has, they are fair, and his work is absolutely worth it. But I'm going to make you all pissed because my first photo shoot with Chris Ryder was paid for by a case of Yingling, and he drove you what, an hour and a half?
It was an hour and 15,
something
something like that. It was, to be fair, it was my first promo shoot. We were both taking a chance.
We were, because I was like, because the bandmates were like, "Do we know this guy?" I was like, "Absolutely not."
Yeah.
I was like, he's down to do it for a case of beer, and here it is, like years later, and like it was the best chance we could have taken because we had you first. Like we had you before anyone else did, before anyone else had the worst. And even like, dude, I say it to this day, some of the shots that you did from that photo shoot are still some of the best shots I've ever had of myself.
I love the shots that we got out of that photo shoot. It was fun. And I don't think I even told you guys this at the time. I had bought that lighting gear, my first set of lighting gear, which I still use. I had bought that like 2 weeks before.
Oh, my God.
So you were still getting the hang of how to use it and everything.
Yeah.
Dude,
Beginner's luck.
Yeah. I mean, I did a lot of research. I
did not know that because this man, I just had this random idea. I was like, I don't know if this guy can do it, but I was like, I want to do like the half silhouette face where we're like completely blacked out. And like now knowing that he's only owned that equipment 2 weeks prior to that, dude, we're in this giant, super well lit ballet room, like this huge ballet room, super well lit. And he's like, got it. And just set it up and started snapping, and they were like dead on. Like the shadow started right in the middle of my nose. Like, and I was like,
it was a cool shot.
I was like, that's amazing. I was like, he did it first try. Like,
No, I mean you're an awesome photographer, and you
Thanks. I
rightfully
appreciate
have earned the awards you've won. Speaking of promos, you did our promo shoot here.
I did.
You did.
I did. That was a blast.
That was
a blast.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I ever got to meet you, and it's great to have you back on here now. Oh my gosh!
On this side of the camera.
Yeah,
exactly. On this side of the camera,
It's kind of weird.
I was going to
being on
ask.
this side of the camera. I'm not used to it.
Are you doing a Ricky Bobby right now? I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah, a little bit. So it's also, as I mentioned earlier, the first time I've ever held a microphone, or used a microphone. So at least that gives me something to do with my hands.
Just be careful. They do bite sometimes if you don't hold them right.
Oh, that'd be unfortunate.
Yeah. It's coming for that goatee.
It's coming. It's coming.
Honestly, this is about to go away, I think.
What?
Yeah,
No,
I
it's got to
know.
stay. Why?
Well, Mustache March is coming up.
It is. So I've got a training coming up next month that I think is due to some federal regulations are going to require me to go with no facial hair. So, and every now and then it's okay to mix it up.
Just go full beard. Go full Viking.
They don't like that when you show up for a class like that.
So, fun fact: Chris is a firefighter as well.
Volunteer
Yes. Firefighter. So that's kind of, I'm assuming that's why, because they need your masks to seal around your face.
Yes. The theory is you get, and it's at least somewhat true. You get a better seal with your air mask. prevent noxious chemicals, gases, everything from getting in there and doing harmful things or killing you dead and stuff. So yeah.
I have a comment that I really want to say right now, but I'm not going. All I'm going to say is because they also say the same things in another specific career field. Any of our watchers that know what I'm talking about, they harp on that. I call bullshit.
Yeah.
Because I've done a mask fit test.
Yes.
And it is still airtight.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, but whatever. We got to look pretty on paper. We got to make sure we're crossing the T's and dotting the I's. We can't have any kind of...
Yeah, they've done studies and all of that stuff within the firefighting realm. And, there were a couple firefighters that died that their deaths got attributed, I think it was out in California, got attributed to them having facial hair and not getting a proper seal. I've proven that I'm able to get a proper seal with my face mask, but... You know what? It's rules. It is what it is. So
this is true.
At the end of the day, you're still doing a good thing, volunteering and helping out your community, and we really appreciate that.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
And you're also a township worker, so you work for the government.
I work for the borough.
You work for the borough.
Yep.
Then you're a volunteer firefighter.
Yep.
And then on top of all of that, then you find the time to just go to all of these shows,
Yes.
all of these festivals, and shoot all of these things for people.
Yeah, and a part-time job in between.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
I swear
I
our
thought we were
guests
busy.
just don't sleep.
Yeah, I thought we were busy.
No,
but
I don't sleep a whole lot. I don't sleep a whole lot. So
He's like,
it's-
Elf. Like, did you sleep at all?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I got a full 40 seconds. I feel great. Like,
sleep's overrated.
Yeah.
So
sleep when you're dead.
Yeah, it's makes for some long nights sometimes. But
That's true.
Yeah.
I have a lot of fun doing what I'm doing, so it's worth it.
Yeah,
Good.
worth it. That makes sense. So, you are nominated now this year for
Yes.
2022 as well.
Yes.
So you will be attending the CPMAs there. What's your gut telling you?
I don't even know. Everybody else that's nominated for best photography, they're fantastic, and I'm lucky enough to consider them all friends to one degree or another. So honestly, it's kind of a win-win for me no matter what. If I add another trophy, then I think I'm the first one to three-peat in the CPMAs, I think. I'm not 100% sure on that. If I don't, then I get to watch one of my friends go up there and accept a trophy. It's kind of cool.
Win-win.
Right, exactly. So honestly, I don't lose either way. The nomination is huge, just to be nominated amongst all these other fantastic photographers for just doing something that we love. It's pretty cool.
It's crazy too, because I've definitely thought about doing like camera work. I was like, it's got to be easy. You point, you click. That seems like a good angle. That lighting seems cool. It's not. I don't think I'm surprising anyone by saying that, but it is not easy. I have tried to get into it multiple times. I thought I definitely had a knack for it at one point, and I don't, and I'm okay with that. And I'm going to leave it to the professionals like yourself that know what you're doing. Like, I have no idea. You start talking about aperture and shutter speed and all of this, and I'm like, I don't even know what aperture is, but it's fine.
Can't even
and that's
spell it.
That's why I'm going to leave it to the professionals. I'm just going to let you do your thing. Hey, you make me look pretty. Like, that's all I'm asking. I know they say the camera usually adds 10 pounds. I need you to know a way to take the 10 pounds back off. That's all I need.
And the thing is, and I tell people this all the time, they're like, you make me look so good, or you make me look like a rock star.
You do.
No, but see, that's the thing. I don't. That's what I love about what I do. I'm just capturing what you're putting out there. I'm capturing your energy. I'm capturing a split second of a moment of you putting that energy, that emotion out there on the stage for your fans. And, what you see is what's really there. I barely use Photoshop. I honestly barely even know how to use Photoshop. I don't like it.
I did not know that.
Yeah, because I want my images to be authentic. So honestly, I spend very little time doing editing. Most of the work is done in front of the stage with the camera, capturing it as close to as well exposed as I can, given the lighting, which is constantly changing, which is part of the fun and the challenge. I try to get it as right in camera as I can so that I can spend as little time as possible afterwards doing my editing, adjusting lighting levels, maybe taking some color out, or my conversions to black and white take a little bit longer, but they're my favorite.
Yeah.
Just can't do everything in black and white. There's so many pretty colors on the stage that
Agreed.
So, but black and white is absolutely my favorite to do.
That's awesome. I feel like, for me, I think it's if you get a good black and white photo, you don't need the other colors to be able to see like the perfection of the picture.
Right.
Like you can see it in the perfect contrast of the white and the black.
The right black and white image can bring forth more feeling and emotion from an image for me than a color one.
That's really neat.
Deep.
So it's just, and I think it goes back, when I was growing up, my dad was into photography a little bit, in the film days, and I'd,
jumped right
watch
ahead.
him,
I was about to ask you how you got into it.
Yeah, I'd watch him do some of his developing and stuff like this, and, he was just, he didn't take it as far as I have, but I think it gave me a little bit of that bug, for it, and I definitely developed my love for black and white photography back then. As well as my love of music. It comes from both my parents. I remember, one of my best memories growing up is waking up on the weekends and my dad would have an album playing downstairs, and
That's awesome.
It'd be all classic rock, The Doors, The Who, whatever.
That's
the
awesome.
Allman Brothers, still one of my favorite bands. And I think my love for both of them, I just got very lucky and was able to combine them into something that is just a lot of fun.
Dude,
That's awesome.
that just sounds so wholesome too. Like,
It really does. I mean, you grew up with your father being, not being a photographer, but doing photography, listening to music, and you took those two things that you grew up on.
Yep. My mom was into photography too.
Your mom was as well.
I have more, and I mean, they were together my entire childhood and everything. The memory, you pick and choose your memories in your head as you're growing up, and some of the ones that I retain and remember are more of my dad's work. I guess.
No discredit to her.
No,
or
not at all.
No, exactly. My mom was into photography a little bit too as well, and my mother is definitely a very artsy person, but so is my father. My father was also a musician and whatnot, so I understand where you're coming from on
Gotcha.
that. But no, it's really cool. You took those two things from your childhood and encapsulated them and made it into your passion as an adult now. That's really cool.
I use the word adult lightly, but other than that,
I'm right there with you. Like, you're 33. I'm like, going on 17.
Yeah.
Especially if you look at my maturity level.
Right.
Just saying, everyone.
So what's next for you? Do you have anything new or exciting you're working on right now, or anything you're excited for aside from the awards? Any shows that you're excited to go and shoot?
I know there's a show at HMAC coming up in March next month. John Garcia and the Hopeless Romantics.
Yeah, we've had them on Darker with Daniel.
Yes. So they're playing at HMAC. He's headlining a show. Trying to remember the date. I think it's the 18th.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that. Look it up on his page. Go to his page. Check him out. And while you're there, take a listen to his music. It's good.
It is.
I got a festival coming up, Rock on the Hill in Hanover. That's in May, put on by Brendan Starr. This will be his second year running this one.
Brendan Starr.
Yes. So I met Brendan because of Alan during the photo shoot that we were talking about earlier.
Ethics days.
Yes. And last year was his first
was the drummer.
year. He was a drummer. Yeah. And last year was his first year putting this on. And I've been to festivals. I've even taken pictures. I hesitate to say photograph because it was very early on with the camera. But that kind of got me on the roll with the whole music photography thing. So he invited me to come down and shoot this festival last year. And I thought at the time when he was telling me about this festival that it was a very ambitious schedule. He had, I think, 28 bands, 2 stages, scheduled over 9 or 10 hours in a day.
Wow.
Maybe 11. I might be a little off on the time. And I thought, man, this could be really good. And there were some pretty serious names, both local and national. Or this could be bad. Like this, because that's tough. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, the boy put his work in. The festival was fantastic. All the bands performed great.
He put on that whole thing.
He put on that whole thing. He did have help behind the scenes, and I'd love to name them, but I don't know.
Sure.
But he'd be another guy to bring in here. Just a suggestion.
Yeah, we talked to him about it actually.
Okay.
Briefly.
So over the course of that day, I ran back and forth between the 2 stages. Shot 27 bands. One ended up canceling late or last minute. Shot 27 bands over about 10 hours. It was like 95, 98 degrees, and it was hot. I was beat. but it was fantastic. It was such a great show. Just every single band poured their hearts out.
Yeah, I love Brandon. He just lives and breathes music, and he was the same way when he was
does.
in Ethics. We just kind of had like separate creativity avenues the way we wanted to go. So I think, when Ethics kind of disbanded, I think it was the best thing that happened for all of us because we kind of all went off and did our own thing.
Yeah.
And we've all grown since then. But Brendan especially, his passion for music has never wavered. It's never like halted. He has just always been full cylinders.
Yep.
The whole way. So like I'm super happy to see like the progress and like the achievements he's making right now and like the success he's having right now. I just feel like I just feel honored to even know that I sat in a storage unit with him in the back of a storage unit just trying to write music, and that's Brendan Starr, and like he was in my band. It's just a really cool thing. I'm just happy to know him.
I love the track he's on right now with some of his music. Well, I mean, all of it that I'm hearing. I've been fortunate enough to go down to shoot behind the scenes during 2 of his video shoots, which was a new experience for me, and it was a blast. Just seeing that whole other side of it while a music video was being shot. And, the one song that really sticks out to me is called Top of the World. It's just the lyrics, the message behind it and everything just really kind of hit home for me. And he likes, he's still shocked. That's still my favorite song of the ones that he's released for this EP. But that particular song just hit me. So
that's all. I mean, I know he's getting a lot of attention from a lot of different people right now, and some of them are pretty big names. So I'm very excited for him, and I just think it's crazy how small the world is. Like we met, and he wasn't even the drummer when we did the first photo shoot. Like when we first met you, he wasn't even the drummer yet.
That's right. He wasn't.
No,
he came in after. It was Alan. And then Brendan came in. That's right. Because I did 2 photo shoots with you guys.
You did.
Yeah.
Yep.
One was a little dicier than the other.
We're gonna leave that for another time. We're just gonna leave that one there.
It might have involved a police escort.
It may or may not have. We'll let you guys ponder. But I mean, outside of that, man, dude. So this is your moment. We're happy to have you on. We're excited for you at the to be at the CPMAs. But
thanks.
This is your moment to let everyone know where they can find you, where they can hire you, where they can book you.
So they can find me on Facebook. I have an Instagram, but honestly, I don't use it because I hate the format of Instagram. It just
me too.
It annoys me, and so I'm mainly on my Facebook page, Chris Ryder Photography, Ryder with an I. You'll find me at pretty much any venue around central Pennsylvania. I go as far north as Sunbury, sometimes even further. Spyglass Ridge Winery is one of my favorites up there, especially during their summer concert series. They get some really great shows up there. Come down to Harrisburg, Mechanicsburg area, Carlisle I've gone to. I'm actually going down to York this weekend for my first time to a place called The Kennel.
Okay.
West York Inn.
Okay.
I think it's relatively new.
Okay.
But I know the Sound and Light guy there, and his band is also playing, and so it just worked out. So I'm going to take a trip down there and check that out, and
awesome.
It's always cool going into a new venue because the lighting's different. So maybe new challenges, or maybe not. I don't. Yeah, who knows?
Or it's a cakewalk, and you're like, tonight's going to be easy.
Might be easy. I don't know.
That's awesome. Well, to anyone that's watching, I can speak from personal experience that and he has earned everything that has come his way. His work speaks for itself. So check his work out, Chris Ryder Photography. You will not be disappointed. I don't even know if our stuff's still on there. Maybe it is if they go way far back. If it's not,
I've never removed anything.
So
I've
it's there. I'm telling
anything.
you, his stuff is fantastic. So if you're looking for the photographer, Chris is the guy.
You can also see my work, of course, on Pennsylvania Musician Magazine, both the website, Facebook page, and in the print. We still do prints. So the magazine's out once a month, and check that out too.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for coming on, Chris.
No problem, guys.
It's always a pleasure seeing you.
No,
always a pleasure seeing you, man. Well,
thanks for inviting me.
Anytime. Till next time, though. I'm sure we'll have you. I'm sure we'll probably do a recap, with winners and anything else. So I'm sure this won't be the last time we see you.
I'll see you guys at the ceremony.
Sounds good.
All right.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Thanks, guys.
And up next, we have an exclusive interview with Lyndhurst, as well as an exclusive live performance from them.
and we have Lyndhurst here with us. So welcome, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
Dude, it's super awesome to have you guys here, man. Your guys' album, I want to get into all of it, but I want to say it's super awesome to have you
Couch
guys
is
here.
nice.
Thank you so much.
Well,
Thank you.
Look, this is a very nice couch.
We
Yeah,
appreciate
I didn't
it.
want it to be all about us.
The red and black is real sweet.
You wanted to put more attention on the couch?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to introduce you guys, so we have Mark and Ed. Thank
Yes,
you
hello.
for joining us. We really appreciate it.
I play the box.
He plays the box. Love it. So you guys just came out with a new album back in December.
Yeah.
Whenever it leaked.
Yes. Yeah. So
I was going to say, get into that.
So our album was scheduled to come out December 9th. Yeah. And we put it out through our distributor, who I guess I won't say, but when we put it through our distributor, we put it through their CD maker first because we made CDs for this. We went kind of old school, and we gave them all the information. We gave them the release date. Somehow, when they transitioned from their CD maker to like the distribution side of things, they put it in as the date they sent it over, rather than the date that we put in the future.
And
So
got it.
as soon as it went over, it went out to all these streaming platforms.
And
I didn't even realize it until maybe a week after it happened. A friend of mine reached out and was like, "Hey, man, I'm loving the album so far. It's really great." And I was like, "What are you talking about?"
And then
A musician's worst nightmare.
I remember on Thanksgiving, I was brushing my teeth, and then Kevin texted us in the chat. He goes, "Guys, our album's out." I'm like, "What? What do you mean our album's out?" "No, it's not." And he goes, "It's out." And then
Yeah.
I'm like, I Googled Spotify, and I'm like, hey guys, I think it's out.
Oh my. So how did you guys roll with that then?
Well, I mean, there was nothing we could really do. I mean,
Well, what are you gonna do? Take it away?
at that point, we would have had to pull it, and pulling it and then re-releasing it, affects a lot of things on like the business side of stuff.
Sure.
So we were just like, all right, well, it's out now, cool. So we did a push on all social media, just be like, hey, so this happened. So
Surprise.
a lot of stuff we had planned really wasn't going to work anymore. So we are just like, hey, please listen to it. We were really proud of it and all that. But the response to it has been really good. So when we were talking about this literally an hour, a couple of minutes ago, I was like, oh, yeah, I totally forgot that even happened. So it's all in the past.
But it makes for a good story, though. I mean, and I
It's
feel
funny.
I feel like any artist can like. I mean, what's the worst that can happen if something leaks? You know what I mean, like that. You know what I mean? Like in the grand
And
scheme of things.
And we have, like, I guess, pretty nice buzz around. And then what was it? And then we had the In Her Own Words Capstan show.
Yeah,
and I did a promo for Instagram. I was like, hi, like, hey guys, come to the show, get our leaked album.
Yeah, and we were doing a CD release, like a week or two later on the actual date. But I think we actually brought our CDs to that show, and we were like,
We
hey,
did.
well, it's out already, so we might as well,
Capitalize
them,
on it.
please.
You totally
Yeah.
did that. That's all. And last year, you guys won. You only had one song out of the time. I'm Sorry for the Way I Am.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys won Best Song of the Year at the Central Pennsylvania Music Awards in 2021, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We came out with that song in August of 2021, and at that point, even by the time the awards happened in March or so, it was still our only song that we
Yep.
had out, because our next single didn't come out till May of that year. So
Wow.
yeah, it was really crazy. And we were talking before about how a lot of bands like, oh, they wish that kind of thing could happen. It's like, oh, we started the band and we immediately got recognition. I got lucky, or I guess I had the experience already because I did the same thing 3 years earlier with my solo project. I was just releasing music under my name, Ed Allison, and I had put out an EP of songs, just of 4 songs, but I did kind of the same thing where I had the first single that came out, which was very similar in style to I'm Sorry for the Way I Am. Then I had another single come out that was much more pop punk, but I learned a lot doing that. There was a lot of things about like marketing that I didn't understand, about how to actually push my song. There was things about songwriting that I didn't know. I was working with a better producer now, so it sounded better. The mix was better.
Your guys' mix is fantastic.
Really?
Yeah,
I think it's
The
the
levels are
best
amazing.
drums. I think it's the best drums I've ever heard because it really feels like you're sitting right next to the drum production.
Yeah.
Which is really a credit to John
John
at Thornwall.
Sandberg.
Yeah, John Sandberg at Thornwall Studios, because he mixed the crap out of it, and it sounds great.
It does. It sounds. I mean, I was literally talking to you guys before you guys even sat down. Your guys' album, like I've been playing it, and like, dude, every song is a bop. Like every song, it has its own vibe. And I was telling you, Mark, I was like, they all sound different, but they all sound so good, and in their own way, it's like almost every individual song could be the anthem for someone depending on what they're going through in their life. Like that song could be their anthem. And like I've never seen that like on an album where like first off, every song is good. I don't want to skip it, but they're completely different from themselves, but every single one is super catchy. Like I'm just like, well done, man.
Thank you.
Like, well done, guys. Like
and I don't want to talk down on any bands that like, I know a lot of bands get crap about like, oh, all their stuff sounds the same or stuff like that,
That's
like,
what I say.
But like I don't mind that. Like everybody gives Nickelback crap. I love Nickelback. Nickelback
awesome.
makes some great albums.
they
first
do
of all.
make some bangers. I will admit, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that. I don't listen to them on a regular basis, but there are certain songs by Nickelback if they come on, I'm like, by myself, I'm not gonna change it. Like
They were my first concert. They were awesome.
But I've always, every release I've ever done, I've included a lot of different styles because I have a lot of different influences. It's never just been like, I just want to make like pop punk, or I just want to make alternative, or I just want to make whatever. It's always a mix of everything that I'm into at that point.
Well, yeah, and whenever your first song, I'm Sorry for the Way I Am, wasn't the most pop punk song on the album.
Yes, certainly. It's funny because that song was like one end of the spectrum of that album, and then our next single, Messy, which was super poppy, super catchy, is like the total opposite end, and most everything else fits somewhere in the middle.
That's a very good way of describing it, because I
Yeah.
remember I know Kevin, long time. We went to high school together, and we met you guys at the Central Pennsylvania Music Awards last year.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed in contact with Kevin, and he's like, "Yeah, we're a pop rock or a punk pop band," and I was like, "Oh, cool, great." And then I see the song, and I'm like, I mean, like, yeah, I can see it, like, here or there, but then, like,
I think so.
Yeah, and then I met you guys, and you guys, showed me a couple of your other songs. I was like, oh yeah, there it is. And then Messy came out. Which
It's funny because I started in this scene playing in like cover bands and stuff, so I'm used to playing for like an older crowd, and I have a good number of older fans that know me from other stuff. And most of the time they don't know what pop punk is. Even if I say like, oh, Blink-182 or Green Day or something like that, that's really not capturing.
That's what I had to say to my coworkers.
So I always just say it's rock, but it's catchy. You know what I mean?
you're like, I'm gonna really water this down for you.
Yeah.
It's really catchy
It's
rock.
like the basis of that and all it can encompass.
it's not rock, but it's not screamo. Okay.
Yeah.
When I tell people about Lyndhurst, I say like, oh, it's pop punk, and some of them just like, what? I'm like, oh, it's Blink or Green Day music. And they're like, oh, that I know what that is. I'm like, good. Now you can correlate.
I would love that. And it's like, I really hope you would. So here's the album. Give it a listen. So,
Dude, how are you sitting like that? I've been watching your legs like this entire time.
It's just, I met with a teacher of mine from like middle school a couple months ago, and I did this same thing because we were like all sitting on the floor for something, and she was like, you've been sitting like that for like the past 15 years. And I was like, yeah, that's probably right.
Dude, I game like that.
it just stuck.
It's just
so
comfy for me.
I don't know. It's just interesting.
I cannot sit correctly. If I have my legs down like this, I am more uncomfortable than like any other position in the world.
He's Ricky Bobbying, but with his feet.
Dude,
I don't know what to do with my feet.
I had to do this, but tap my foot because I just had a coffee, and I'm like, probably shouldn't have done that.
So it's a good thing that I spilled more than half of your coffee.
Yeah,
earlier.
probably.
So with this album, I mean, I read a little bit
It's
of
a
the
thing.
synopsis. It is a thing. But I want to hear from your guys' mouth. Like, dive into this. Like, what was the inspiration for this album? Because I mean,
Death.
from the songs, I could believe that for certain songs, but like they're so polarly different, whether in sound or message. And I just, how? Where did it come from?
Well, so a lot of them were not written at the same time. I think that's part of it. The like year or so over, time period over which they were written, I was going through a lot of different things in my life. Everybody was going through stuff with COVID, and I was dealing with, not playing shows and being stuck at home and being miserable because of that, because that's what I love to do. And I had friendships that were beginning and friendships that were ending. And so each song is like a time capsule of that part of my life.
Okay.
I'm Sorry for the Way I Am was actually the first song of that group that I wrote. And that was when I was, really at my lowest in COVID there. And everything else, like, it's not along the lines of the album, along the track list or whatever, but everything else has just been kind of like, oh, it's all steadily going up from there.
That's really awesome. So how long did it take you to write this album?
Probably about a year.
About a year.
I think I started writing. Probably like June or July of 2021, and then I was in the studio of 2020, and then I was in the studio recording by March or April of that next year.
Wow.
And when I went in, I was still writing a few of those songs. So
been there.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I have been at the studio once where we were completely done recording the instrumental, and like, all right, it's vocals, and I'm like, I'm still writing the lyrics.
Yep.
You ever hear? Not Jack Black. Who's that? Jack White. You ever? The opposite color. You ever hear Jack White's like kind of take on the studio? If you don't have anything finished, he goes, if you don't have anything finished, book yourself in a short amount of time and force creativity. Just force something out.
I vividly remember
that guy knows how to work under pressure, because he'll just come into the studio with like something's finished and he'll just force it out.
I vividly remember going into the studio at one point for we were recording our song Broken on the album, and on my way to the studio I wrote the bridge vocals because like, oh yeah, I'm going to record this today and I don't have anything. So I just like kind of played it over and over again in my car. I was like, okay, I think I got this, and I took my phone and recorded it like on my way there. I'm sure I still have that voice memo somewhere.
So is this gonna
We'll
happen?
sell it on the deluxe edition.
Yeah.
Seeing that this album took off the way it did, your single took off the way it did, you guys are doing great, still doing shows and everything. You're working on new music, right?
Yep. And this is actually the first time we're working on new music together. Which is an interesting thing for me. The first album, Between the Here and Everywhere, I actually wrote basically by myself.
Wow.
In the isolation of COVID in my little hermit hole. But yeah, this is really like my first time writing music with other people, like on the floor. I've been in other bands before where everybody has contributed, but it's mostly been, okay, here's a finished song and everybody learn it and everybody brings in their songs. So this is the first time that like I'm collaborating on something, which is really, it's an interesting process for me.
I was gonna say that it must be like fun, but also challenging in certain ways, because it's like, oh, that's your opinion matters.
Well,
okay, I'm not just writing by myself. This isn't just me now.
Yeah,
like,
and like too, a lot of my ideas come after I'm sitting silently for 2 hours just thinking about something, and then now I've got an idea, and it kind of flows out of me. Whereas when we're all together, it's like, okay, we have 2 hours, we need to get something done. So I'm trying to pull something out of thin air, and sometimes it just doesn't happen.
It's kind of like we go over section by section, and then Ed or Kevin will bring up something, and then I just blast beat on top of it, and then when we're done, and then Ed's like, all right, let's try to do one take and go through it, and then we'll just see whatever happens, and this kind of jamming out, and then that's it, and then we'll record it, and then we're like, all right, we'll just see how it continues next practice.
Wow, that's really cool, and it's working good for you so far, it seems like.
I don't know, we probably did it like twice.
Oh, okay, fair enough. All right, cool.
Yeah, it's still early in the process.
Okay, so we don't have any idea when anything new's coming out yet, but
I don't know.
Could be.
Well, so what is it, 2023?
Yeah.
Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe something new this year. We'll see.
That'd be great.
Don't look at me.
I
would like to, but nothing's for sure.
I will say, I mean, if all or the majority of that album came from you, then if there's that much talent in one person, the rest of you guys, I mean,
I just
people that don't see it, the
I
rest
just
of the
blast
members are
beat.
sitting behind the cameras.
I just blast beat. Don't give me that much credit.
Shout out to Kevin and Tim who are over there in the
They're
darkness.
sitting behind the
Love you.
cameras.
Love you guys.
We got a 2-seater couch, so it is what it is. But you will see them during the live performance.
Yes.
But if there's that much talent with you, I mean, I'm excited to see what you guys would have, because I mean, I will give you credit. Your music trivia knowledge is just like baffling to me. Like you just name so many things, so many people, what they've done, what they've contributed, how they contributed. If they're still contributing, I can only imagine if you care that much about that stuff, you care just as much about your own stuff. So I will give you credit where it's due, man. Like I'm excited to see where you guys go from here then, because I can only imagine it's going to be up. And I'm flabbergasted by like I'm going to give you credit where it's due. There has not been many local bands in the time that I started listening to like actual local music where I was like, oh, I want to find more local music, that I've been like, this album is dope. Yeah. Start to like, I will not skip a song. Like it's do I like others more than others? Like other songs? Sure. But none of them are like, oh, I hate this song. Like I got to skip this. Like I can't do that. And I don't do that to any of you guys, any of our other local bands that we listen to. But like,
No, definitely not.
there is something different about your guys' album that stands out. It really does shine.
If you guys want to hear something, drop a comment. Be like, I would like to hear something new.
Yeah.
Drop a comment.
Yeah,
Like,
let us know.
Interaction is always the best.
We'll count them all up, all 16 of them, and we'll be like, hey guys, there's 16 votes for new music.
However many comments we get on this video, you guys have to make an album with that many tracks. No,
All right.
You don't.
No.
Well, I mean, if you're down for
All
it.
right, I have a very short tangent. I used to work at my college radio station, and we used to get CDs all the time from the college music journal that would just be like, hey, try this new thing. There was a band called Fenris. They had an album of 23 songs that were all under a minute long, that were just ukulele and vocals, and they were all a mess. It was so bad.
I didn't know where that response was going to go.
But it was, I was like, you know what? He tried something. At least he tried.
We're going to give him the
Gotta
credit
respect
where
him.
it's due.
We're
Like,
gonna give him the gold star.
so what is next now? Besides the writing, anything else on the horizon? I mean, I know this is
Probably T-shirts. I don't know. Probably like different T-shirt designs. Because
Yeah,
like I'm a music collector, so I'm more about like the aspect of like the fan aspect of like, oh, what do bands put out that other fans can collect? So we did the vinyl singles.
Mhm.
So if anything, I guess the next thing would be either T-shirt designs, maybe patches if we can find someone, or just different things that we can
Rock
sell.
Mill.
Oh yeah, well,
Yeah.
I didn't know if they would do patches or not.
I think they did.
anything they can embroider, they'll do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So by the time this comes out, we'll have already gone on our first like real tour.
That's awesome.
Yeah, sleeping in a van.
Yeah, we hit the road with Observe the 93rd and Lives Lost, our good friends. And then after that, we're playing more shows, doing more things, seeing what comes.
It's good to see you guys going out there, having fun, enjoying what you've created, and there's more to come in the future.
Avenged Sevenfold said in their documentary during the self-titled album, from Matt Shadows. Shut up.
I have seen this documentary at least.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool documentary. But no, it's when City of Evil came out. I'm sorry. They were working on the self-titled album. The point is that they did say that touring is like you can get like that's how you get as close to a person without having sex. And I'm really excited for touring to really get close to everybody.
That's really good.
Because he can't have sex with us.
It really
so this is the next best thing.
Yeah.
I'm like it's an emotional way to bond, like being with someone for like 10 days, and it's like it's not like you can get space. It's like you have to deal with everything. So if anything, if anything bothers you, it'll like come up, be like, hey, like we have time to talk, like. And really work things out and become closer.
It will definitely be a growing experience for sure.
Yes.
And there'll be a lot of positive comment. But this is your guys' moment before we let you guys take the stage then, but let everyone know where they can find your stuff.
Yeah.
Illegally.
We are a band called Lyndhurst. Myself, Mark, Kevin, and Tim over there. We make sad music that you can move to. And check out our album Between the Here and Everywhere.
That's
Love
awesome.
it. And what song are we about to perform?
We are about to form our probably new single, hopefully by this point, Stormy Weather.
Big clouds.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
All right.
Awesome.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a
Yeah.
pleasure. And now, enjoy Lyndhurst. Stormy Weather. Woo.
Wanted to tell you that I miss you. Get through the stormy weather. We can fight the world together. 'Cause it's me and you till the bitter end. And I know a change is coming. We'll make something out of nothing. 'Cause I can't help but feel that we'll make it there. Between the here and everywhere. lady. Sorry for the shit I couldn't do. This is all I have to give to you. Another tune. I just wanted to say I love you.